Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've ever wanted to find your deepest purpose and potential in life, then do we have the Designing Destiny show for you. Today I'll be talking with Kamlesh D Patel, a spiritual master also known as Daaji, co-author of the Heartfulness Way and author of his latest book, Designing Destiny. And that's just what I want to talk with him about today, about heartfulness practices to find your purpose and fulfill your potential. That plus we'll talk about salad sandwiches, backdoors and humility, eating with love, a new Ferrari in the mind, Monica and wet cement, squirrels and observation, salivating and meditation, and what in the world Yoda and luminosity have to do with anything. So welcome to the show, Daaji. Are you ready to shine?
I'm all ready. Just seeing you and makes me feel really happy and joyful and beyond. And it's very exciting to be with you.
Thank you. It goes both ways in a mighty woohoo!
Thank you.
So before we dive into your story, we're actually going to talk about your story. Then we're going to go into heartfulness practices to find your purpose and potential. But before we do that, what's one thing we can do right now, today, to begin discovering our purpose and fulfilling our potential?
What can we do today? Well, at any given moment, I wish that everybody can center themselves in the core of their heart. That should be our permanent feature. Always focused on the heart. Trying to feel before we speak, trying to feel before we act. And either you may not be thinking much or you may not be acting, but even if you're alone, trying to center yourself will bring so much of joy. And this way of meditation, Heartfulness Way, is all about centering oneself. So I wish all can enjoy this.
Thank you. If we go back in time, we won't go to your earliest years today, I don't believe, but who knows where we'll be carried. But you were a pharmacist for over 30 years before becoming named as a successor to a century-old lineage of spiritual masters. Were you living a heartfulness way during those 30 years?
Well, I can't say that. Or I cannot agree or disagree on that because I led a life which was very satisfactory to myself, to my family. And as a professional, I think my patients were quite happy. Though we had many chain drugstores and many private drugstores around us in New York City, but people would wait before. Suppose if I'm traveling from Staten Island to Manhattan and because of rush in traffic, I get delayed by a few minutes or half hour. My patients would wait. They would not run away to some place and say, I need to get my Valium or I need to get my pressure pill or my water pill filled up right away. They will wait for me. So I feel very happy and I'm proud of this success in my life and which I attribute to meditation. As a student of pharmacy, I think I cleared the exams, passed this college with breeze. As a professional and as a businessman, I think I carried out my life with relative ease. In the family life also, I think it's quite ease. I think through meditation, everything becomes quite natural and palatable.
Thank you. How did you end up switching gears? Maybe we ask, who is Rama Chandra? How did you meet him and how did your life change?
Wow, I didn't meet him first before starting meditation. Somebody like you who inspired me. Oh, Kamlesh, why don't you meditate? I said, I already been meditating. He said, no, I see you. I watch you meditate. You are not sinking inside. Okay. And you spend too many hours meditating, which is not good. Then he gave me a small example that if you're on a dining table sitting there for 5 hours eating and still not satisfied, would that be a proper lunch or a proper dinner? Maybe something is wrong with you or your food. When you meditate for hours and hours together, it is exactly like that. If meditation doesn't satisfy you and alter your consciousness within few minutes, then it is not a worthwhile meditation. It must be able to take us to the highest level of subconsciousness available at that time based on our inner environment.
Mm-hmm.
It should be instantaneous. I cannot say, Michael, you work for me and I'll pay you your salary after 10 years. It doesn't work. So, all the people who are meditating, I had to say, you must experience it here and now. So, gentleman whom I met, he pushed me into it. He said, you must meditate with this method. Forget your old method. And I was following Swami Vivekananda's.
Yeah.
He didn't have any methodology, but I would just close my eyes the way he used to close his eyes. He didn't prescribe any method. I would just close my eyes and sit and wait for something to happen. But when I met one lady who was a trainer in this system, she said, you don't have to do anything. I will work on you. Ramchandra will work on you. You just have to close your eyes and relax. Focus your mind on the heart very gently, that the divine presence is already there. It is not that God is lost that you have to look for him. You are lost yourself. You have to find yourself. So, in brief, she started transmitting to me after making me close my eyes, and I could experience it. And instantly, I was transported to very high subconscious state, and that was my beginning. And few months later, I met Ramchandra at his home. He's a very simple man. He didn't speak much. Hardly any, not even one word during my first 3 days of interactions with him. I would just observe him. He would conduct meditation. I would close my eyes and meditate. And his meditations were 15-20 minutes each, and I had 3 sessions with him like that. That's how I met him. Well, this was, of course, when I was studying in the pharmacy. I was in 3rd year of college.
Mm-hmm. And what made you shift gears after pharmacy and dive into this headlong?
Well, I didn't have to stop anything. This practice of meditation, it is not contradictory or it's not incompatible with our day-to-day life. I still run my business.
Mm-hmm.
It's in New York City, right? I have my family life. You don't have to desert anyone. You don't have to leave your parents. This spiritual life and our day-to-day life has to go together. And it's very easy. Once we start meditating, the inner guidance, the inspiration will take us to the next level each time.
Thank you. So I'm going to want to talk about transmission and superconsciousness in a little bit. Before we do that, since we're talking about destiny, and it's a really big question, do you believe destiny is fixed or do we have free will? Was this preordained for you to be on this path or was this a choice that you made?
It's both. I would say, Michael, stand up. And Michael would stand up. Then I say, lift your one leg. Which leg would you lift?
I guess I would have a choice.
Right. But when you have lifted one leg and I ask you, lift the other one, you have no choice. Right? You had the choice of lifting right or left in the first place. But you ran out of your choices. So destiny is something what we make ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
If I had not studied pharmacy, I would not have become a pharmacist.
Yeah.
So my karma, my action prepares me in certain way. Right? If I was not born in a particular environment, I would not be feeling awkward if I go out of that and also face the similar environment. But let us say if I am I'm from Middle East and I end up being in Manhattan with, and I'm trying to look for the westward way of worshipping. I might find it quite awkward. So destiny to me is both. Based on my action, I create the new destiny. I have a freedom to choose. But there are times when I have no other freedom. Just as our genetic pattern is there. Let us say if you are to grow 5 feet 5, you will grow 5 feet 5. But if you exercise, maybe you'll grow 5 foot 6 or 5 foot 7, but certainly you cannot become 6 footer. Like this, just as we have this genetic pattern which expresses itself. Likewise, we have epigenome, right, which helps, which is more flexible, which can change. In the karma theory wise, we can talk of karma and the consequences of those karmas. But if you find a way how to get rid of the karma, then you will be escaping the destiny part of that karma. For example, you had a fight with someone, you were angry, and you want to take a revenge. Okay. Now, if you happen to have a good family member, let us say your wife, who tells you, Michael, forget about this fight. Rise. Forgive that person. And if you can emotionally forgive that person, you have changed the destiny. Before it has gone forward with creating further enmity. So we have a choice to make our own destiny. And making our own personality is also follows the same pattern. We can design our own personality based on our own ambitions.
Are there things we came in here to do? And if not this lifetime, then another lifetime?
And there is always another opportunity. If we miss out something in this life, nature will facilitate and provide better environment in our next life so that we can achieve that goal. But the goal we have to fix. We should not forget the main goal of our existence. So many times people ask me, what is the goal of life? Why did God create this universe? For what? If we had to be recycled again and go back to God, why did He throw us out in the first place? And I find this question is very interesting, and I congratulate those people who think like this in finding the solution.
Yeah, I'll pause you and repeat that because there's a statement that bears repeating. Why did God throw me out? Because He didn't, did He?
No, He did not. And where would he throw? Let us see if
God.
this is my house. If this is my house, and I tell my son, get out of this house. But if my house is infinite, the whole universe is infinite. Where will we be thrown? But still, we get this idea, and the questions arises amongst people that there is apparent separation between father and son. So I would say when I left for United States, my father sent me with $20 in my pocket. He says, and I was relying mainly on my pharmacy degree. I came to United States and almost $10 were spent at London Heathrow Airport, treating another co-passengers, having breakfast at London Heathrow. And I thought he would pay for it because he was a doctor. And I had only 20, so I had to pay for his breakfast also. Anyway, cut the whole story short. I had to work hard. And there were many pharmacists who were looking for me. Kamlesh, you come and work for us in our pharmacy. I worked. I had to work so hard and later on clear the exams and pass on. My father's expectation was that I must do better and I must grow in the professional in life. Only if I'm successful, he'll be proud of me. So similarly, if God sends me out, let us say with X potency
Yeah.
or X strength, He doesn't want us to go back with the same potency.
Mm-hmm.
If I go back to God with the same purity, He'll laugh at us and say, "Oh, you came back the same." I want you to become stronger,
Mm-hmm.
greater, and if possible, better than me. See, that's where the beauty of this whole spiritual adventure is. Again, giving example of parents. Mother would never expect his daughter to be less than her, or father would never expect his son to be less than him. He would always wish, may my son do better than I did in my life. Right? So similarly, God would expect us to do a lot better.
However, and you talk about excellence, and I love seeing how we can expand, how we can grow in all areas of our lives, and challenging ourselves for that. However, here in the West, it becomes easy to turn this into a patriarchal thing where if we don't meet up to father's expectations, we're not good. And we can withhold love from ourselves until I become stronger, until I become greater. What's wrong with that?
And the choice is ours. You may not compare yourself with anyone, but won't you like to be better than your yesterday's self?
It's more fun that way.
Yes. So this approach, the spiritual adventure, is always evolutionary in process. Let me give you another example. Let us say
Sure.
you are playing with Celine Dion,
Mhm.
and you are indispensable. You are singing along with Celine Dion, and the whole crowd is happy. Michael, you are the greatest. The next day, you have a performance against with Celine Dion, and would you be happy yourself and say, "Oh, my performance was great, just like yesterday"? It is okay for the TV and the media to say it was great, but at an individual level, you would like to perform better than yesterday. Otherwise, your heart will not be happy. So, this constant search to do better happens when we are truly inspired from within. Let us say if father says something, or mother says something, or my teacher says something. It is okay. I may not do it also. But if I am truly inspired from within myself, it goes miles. I mean, you don't have to be dependent on anyone. And this inner inspiration can easily be invoked when we center ourselves.
So let's go from there and let's talk about how do we begin to center ourselves. And you describe meditation in a fascinating way. I've read over 1,000 books on this show, and you are perhaps the first that I'm going to use a very funny term here to describe meditation. You describe it as a Hoover vacuum.
I love that comparison. How did you come to that?
It just came to me. It's not in my notes. you
Lovely,
you
lovely.
talked
Because,
about creating a vacuum.
yes, I love this terminology. You are leading me to say something before I even give a nudge of it. I was going to talk about vacuum because I often give this example of how nature works. For example, you have a snowstorm in Colorado at the moment, you have 3 to 4 inches of snow. Right? Why not in Mexico. Right? Let us see. Why doesn't it rain in the deserts of Sahara? Though there is enough of air, there is enough of environment that can make use of this rain. But even simple thing like rain to happen, it requires first a low pressure zone. It must the soil must attract the clouds. It must not repel the clouds. And even when the clouds are gathering, it must have certain level of temperature and the vacuum, the pressure. All these things combines and then it rains. How do I attract grace, or how do I attract the blessings, or how do I attract calmness, joy, and peace in my heart? If my heart is pumped up with ego and arrogance, even my pet dog will run away from me. Moment I enter the house with a lot of anger and attitude, my dog would start with his tails below and start hiding itself in another room. Let's me not mess with Michael. Today he's not in a good spirit. Dog will say, dog will run away. How will your wife react? She'll also become perhaps quiet. So the whole atmosphere gets spoiled because of the inner environment that we carry. But if my inner environment, which is full of vacuum, well, vacuum in the sense I have no expectation from anyone. My heart is filled with love. And in this vacuum, only love can thrive. And it will attract more love and more love. It will multiply and it will intensify itself. So vacuum is very important, and we have a method also how to create this inner vacuum. So for that to understand, we have to understand what is it that we are filled with that we have to get rid of. See, when you talk of memory, we have cognitive memory and we have emotional memory. Right? When I go to, when I went to, let us say, my driving lessons are there. I learned how to drive. That's a cognitive memory, and more I practice, it becomes automatic. It becomes my reflex action. But let us say, on my first day of driving, I meet with an accident. For whatever reason, maybe it was snowing and I couldn't control my car. Maybe it's somebody else's mistake. It's just a coincidence. But this will have a solid imprint on my mind and on my heart. Not only the cognitive memory will be there, but I will also be affected with emotional memory. And every time when we have this emotional memory, it will be heavy on our heart. So we have to remove this heaviness. And there is a way we prescribe, there is a method we prescribe, that every evening if you do this, then we can get rid of our daily accumulations.
Would you mind sharing that with us? Because people go to bed with a heaviness on their heart, and then I feel like they wake up with it multiplied because that's what their subconscious is working on while they sleep.
Sleep to me is the most powerful thing we have. Without sleep, can you imagine if you don't sleep 4 hours tonight and then you have to work again next day? It will be troublesome. See? And there are a lot of good studies on the sleep, which I would not mention here, but it is all very helpful for our mental and emotional well-being. Physically also, it improves our immunity. It is worth mentioning, one of the studies that was done, I have forgotten the reference, otherwise I would have mentioned it to you. We have this 1 hour saving during springtime, and we increase it by 1 hour, right? And during the fall, we fall back by 1 hour and we reduce our sleeping time that much. So now, how much population? Almost 65 countries who make use of this daytime saving, and they sleep less by 1 hour. Now they say more than 20, the heart rate increases by almost 25% on the day of this when you sleep 1 hour less. Can you imagine? Instead of 100 patients, you end up getting 125 patients in a hospital the day they sleep 1 hour less. So, and if we suppose don't clean, suppose if you go to a gym in the evening and you don't take a shower and go to sleep, you'll smell like a dead rat, right? At a physical level. Now, same thing happens to us when we don't uh, look after ourselves and keep carrying the emotional baggage all our life. We have to get rid of it before it gets into our subconscious mind. We have to let it out. So there is this very specific practice and it uses this power of will. We make a will that may such and such thing happen, and it will happen. That's what we do in the evening. So I'll walk you through both meditation, and I'll also walk you through the cleaning process. And the beautiful thing that happens is I don't know how. I love science, explaining how memory gets reconciliated through synaptic pruning. It's a beautiful
Which takes
phenomenon.
place if you sleep.
If you sleep. But to accelerate that synaptic pruning, we can do this also well. Once you do this inner cleaning and meditate, your sleep pattern is very different. It will totally change itself. You'll sleep better, your quality of sleep will improve, and many other things that happens. I mean, these are beyond my words. I don't want to feed words to you or to anyone who is listening. I wish they experience it themselves. Otherwise, it will be called preconditioning, isn't it?
Changes the experience. So I guess we'll do both the meditation and the cleaning. Will we do those just before the end? When is it best to do those?
Well, whenever you're ready, I can explain how to meditate. But what we will do, we'll terminate it. I'll just explain the process. Generally, we meditate for half an hour. So if the audience is ready, you can say, please begin meditation. Daaji will give the sitting. And during this meditation, he will be transmitting. And whoever is interested can experience this transmission wherever they are. So this is how we meditate. We gently close our eyes.
And if you're driving, do this later. My apologies.
Yes. Do this while you're at home or in the office. So we close our eyes gently and focus our attention towards the heart. Think that the divine presence is already there in my heart. That is attracting my attention inward. So we simply sit with this idea. If any thoughts come, we don't fight with those thoughts. We simply remind ourselves that I am now meditating on the presence of divinity in my heart. At the end of the meditation, I generally say, that's enough now, that's all. So from the beginning till the end, generally it lasts for about 25 minutes to 30 minutes. So Michael, what you can do, if you let me know when the audience would start, or we can also run an experiment that I would transmit to everyone, whoever sits and meditates, wherever they are, whenever they want, for half hour. And I'll keep this prayer in my heart for another 1 week. So we have timeline of expiry timelines. So this transmission I will continue for 1 week.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So let us say somebody is in New York listening to you. You can say, please begin meditation. This is the method. Daaji will transmit to you. You experience it. This is meditation. Now about cleaning.
Yes.
Meditation is to be done in the morning before we go to work, so that the meditative mind that we arrive at after meditation becomes our instrument during daytime, instrument for work, filling prescriptions. For me, it was easier because my mind was always meditative. When you're meditative, you can do many things in an easier way. You don't get frustrated so fast. And even if you do get frustrated, it's all right. Life is too short to fight with. Enjoy. Now about cleaning. Even if we found the impressions of our karma is no doubt going to have its consequences. But not all karmas can have consequence. And not all consequences are always because of the karma. Let me give an example. You heard of Newton's second law of motion.
In motion stays in motion.
Things in motion. And also there's another one that says action and reactions are always opposite and equal in measure. But in the spiritual realm, it doesn't hold good. For example, let us say you are in a school. You are in your 10th grade and you had a girlfriend, right? And she winks at you. She makes loving gestures towards you. Michael, I'm in love with you. And her eyes speaks everything. It's a small act. But imagine the impact that has on your heart. For days you will not forget. Perhaps for years you will not forget her. You see, so the Newton law doesn't play out well in the emotional world, in the spiritual world. What we do generally is to sit comfortably in the evening for this cleaning process to happen. So we calmed ourselves down, take a few deep breaths, and suggest to ourselves that all complexities and impurities that I have collected during daytime are going away. That's the first step. Second thought we make to ourselves is this, that all these complexities and impurities are going away from my backside, from top of your head till the tailbone. You imagine that back part. And third step is to imagine how they are going away. We imagine that they are going away in the form of smoke. Once we have settled ourselves with these three steps, accelerate this process of throwing the smoke out from your back and sit like that for about 20 minutes. You'll automatically feel very light and beyond. That's when you open your eyes very gently and mix with the family members or do what you have to do next.
Thank you. We might double back to cleaning. One of the things that's interesting, and we'll do a meditation at the end, and thank you for being willing to share his transmission with people over the next week. And actually, we may dive into what exactly. Yes, let's do that. I want to discuss more about meditation, but what is transmission?
What is being transmitted is divine energy. To explain it, I like to use mundane example.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm hungry, I take my meals. That takes care of my physical body.
Mm-hmm.
So we uh, mainly focus on balanced diet, vitamins, etc., and look after the physical body. It nourishes the physical body. The next level, how do I look after and nourish my mental body? We have three bodies,
Mm-hmm.
mainly physical, mental, and spiritual. So we know how to nourish the physical. We also know how to nourish the mental. We educate ourselves as best as we can.
Mm-hmm.
We interact with elders, we interact with our friends, uh, and learn a lot of things that will enrich our minds. But how are we going to enrich our soul? So, when we receive this divine energy through this transmission, you will feel the difference. What you will feel, let it be your own personal experience. Let me not say that you will feel like this or you will feel like that. I want you to have your own authentic experience without anybody telling you that you should feel like this or you should feel like that. But I would certainly encourage you to experiment. Experiment is this. In pharmaceutical world, in pharmacies, how they find the new drugs. Let us say if I want to find a painkiller better than Tylenol, then I can become very rich. But if the new molecule that I have found is lesser than Tylenol, then I will fail in making this product in the market. But if I have a blood pressure medicine, new molecule, I compare it with the existing and see if it is more beneficial with lesser side effects. That will be more preferable. Now, you meditate in one way or another way or third way. You can have many ways of meditation. But just incorporate this meditation in your practice once. I'm not saying for ever. Just once. Try this meditation only once and see if it really helps you. I'll be transmitting. You have been meditating perhaps, or if you have not meditated before, you meditate on your own and write your experience. Later on, you meditate with this transmission and write your experience. And write back to Michael and say, Michael, thank you. This meditation was so great, or it was not so great. Let it be your experience and send your uh, criticisms, suggestions, and some words of goodness if you have felt really good.
Thank you. On that note, you said something profound in here as part of a practice, and I want to dive into practice for a few minutes here. But you said something that there is a specialness in the day when it goes from darkness to light. In fact, you talk about it going from one nostril to the other. There's a specialness in going from light to darkness. We often miss this, I'm going to call it sacred space, when we finish our meditation and we come back, whatever that means. It's a loaded term. but by writing your experience. You're helping us to marinate in this space. And I believe this also helps us, sort of like intention, to carry that with us through the day. What can you tell us about this?
Well, my experience shows like this. You see, the day I meditate, I recall my days in the 80s and 90s while I was working in New York City. I used to live in Staten Island, drive to Brooklyn. I would wake up by 5:30 in the morning, meditate, and sit there. Even after I have completed my meditation for about 5 to 10 minutes, I used to brood over the inner meditative condition and see what has happened, which part of the chakra is active, where the transmission has worked, from where the cleaning has gone. And I would mainly focus also on the after effect of meditation. Where is the shift? See, before I meditate, we already know the condition of ourselves. After the meditation, something special happens that we need to see the difference. Wait out in the heart. Hold on to it. So you may be meditating maybe half hour a day in the morning, but this meditation must extend as a meditative state during our day-to-day activities. Now, you have seen how they lay the concrete on the pavement are made, and if the concrete is not allowed to settle and dry, and instead of that, if you start walking over it, or you can even write, I love Mary, or I love so and so, these imprints will be there forever. You see? So the inner state must also settle down before we start using it. If we spoil it, it will become like that concrete. It is spoiled concrete. There may be dog's footprint on the concrete. So I encourage one and all, if you are meditating, please spend, you have invested already half hour or 1 hour in your meditation. Please spend extra 5 minutes after meditation. Write your experience if you can. Brood over it. As you put it nicely, marinate that condition. And with this meditative state, go into the working world and interact with people. I think our hands, our speech, everything will carry the same vibrations. We will resonate with others, and others will resonate with us. And when you are resonating at the higher frequency of madly in love with God, then magical things can happen in relationships.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. What is a pure heart?
Pure heart is one that demands nothing from anyone or expects nothing even from God.
If we live with that, how does it change everything?
See it and see what happens. For me, it has been a world of a difference. For many people, I find they say, "Oh, how can I not expect things?" It's okay to expect, but let's slowly you reduce these expectations. See, for example, one example that comes to me: you wake up in the morning and you expect your wife to make coffee for you. Instead of that, you wake up earlier and make coffee for her and serve her in her bed. Are you not turning the tables?
There's a powerful energy shift, which if we draw it back actually to meditation and anticipating meditation in the morning, if you make her coffee, now we can let go of expectation. but there's the possibility of her being happy that you make coffee, and you don't do it specifically for that. But what a powerful energy shift that is.
Oh, it will work wonders. She may expect it next day also. It's okay.
Mhm.
Let her be happy. And we have to spread this happiness around. Peace. What is the use of peace if it doesn't go to the next level of making yourself as well as others happier?
Mhm.
Many a times these people who meditate, they come to me and they say, "Okay, Daaji, we feel so peaceful." Then my next question would be, what would you do with this peaceful mind? What are you planning to do with it? So, you in the beginning you used a very humorous language. Meditation junkies, huh? You said?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Why would a person take drugs if it was not making some change in themselves, which was so pleasant to them? And why would people meditate if they were not experiencing anything at all? So, experience is a beginning. If there were no experience in meditation, why would people meditate? And if you have the same experience again and again, I think that will be a tragedy. It will be like you are on JFK airport and you're seeing the same gate number 44 and your plane is there, and next day also you see the same gate number 44. Third day also you see the gate number 44, and there is no change. You don't experience any change outside. What does that say? You're stuck. I must get out of this uh, where I'm stuck and move to the next level. Next level means different environment, different gate number. I must be able to see the different gate number. I must be able to experience something different. That means shift in my consciousness. If I'm feeling the same thing again and again, my consciousness is stuck.
Yeah.
It must become lighter and lighter and lighter as I move on with each meditation.
It's interesting that I want to ask a question about sameness and how it can lead to differentness. We talked about before we began automatism and the importance of having a meditative practice at the same time each day to help us, in a sense, more quickly get into that space.
Mm. Well, I like to remind you an experiment. I'm sure you must have heard of it so many times in school days. There was a Russian scientist, Dr. Pavlov.
Hmm.
He conducted many experiments with dog. One of the experiment was specific conditioning of a dog. And what he used to do was he would tinker a bell
Mhm.
and serve the food to a dog. So he conditioned the dog with the bell, ringing of a bell, and serving of food. See? So whenever he rang the bell, dog would come, dog would take the meal. One day, Dr. Paulo had a crazy idea. He said, "Let me ring the bell, but don't give the food."
Mhm.
Dog came and he was profusely salivating, almost going mad. "Where is my food?" Okay. You must have heard of certain systems, like in some temples, for example. They ring a bell. It is allowing the community to know that this is a prayer time. In many small towns in Europe, I have noticed the church bells would go during the prayer time.
Mhm.
And the whole village would get in tune. Even if they are working, for a few minutes their orientation would be towards God. For a few minutes they will be uh, more attentive towards their inner self. So, bringing back this idea of creating specific conditioning. Let us say if I wake up at 5:30 in the morning and by 6:15 I'm ready for meditation. So automatically my system is longing to meditate by 6:15. And suppose if I don't meditate at 6:15, you feel a bit restless. This is the sign that automatism is getting established in your system. Another way I understand is when I meditate, for example, and in the morning after the meditation, my spiritual state, I'm able to recall. So it is like this. The next day, I meditate, there is a different state. But let us say if I want to recall yesterday's meditative state, I should be expert in this, that I should be able to, at will, should be able to automatically recall any meditative state. So not only specifically conditioning ourselves and making our practice automatic, but also ensuring that whatever spiritual state I'm about to enjoy should also be, I should be also be able to recall it at will whenever I want. That is automatism to me.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
My wife and I have a goal of doing a meditation worldwide. We've got this website, onemind.earth, to bring everybody together to sit and see what we can do. What was the message that Babaji gave to the UN in 1957?
It was very simple. I can share with you one small essence of it. He said, in order to have world peace, individuals will have to be at peace. There cannot be world peace without individual peace. So we have to touch one heart at a time. See, there is no magical wand that will put the entire New York City in tranquility. I wish there was. But we can make the entire city tranquil if every citizen of that city is yearning, is open, and receptive towards the grace. If they say, yes, I want to experience peace in my heart, it's enough. Close your eyes, be receptive towards this transmission, and it will drown you into a lot of peace. But a person must be wanting it. This want creates a vacuum, and this vacuum pulls at grace.
Thank you. Bringing it full circle, and then we'll wrap things up and go into meditation here. At the very, very beginning, you used the term transmission, we've talked about a little bit, and then you used the term super consciousness or super conscious. What is that?
For that, we'll have to understand what is consciousness. We say so many things. Oh, there is subconscious, there is consciousness, there is super consciousness, and there is ultra consciousness. Now, in order to understand a bit of it, you'll have to understand the chakra system, the plexuses. This is heart chakra.
Yes.
Okay. In my book, I have mentioned where exactly that heart chakra is and where exactly the second chakra is on its opposite side. You flip it and become third and fourth chakra. We are not talking about the lower chakras like basic plexus and Manipura and Swadhisthana. We are not talking of that because they belong to the animals also. The speciality of being a human is to transcend all those basic chakras and start with the heart chakra. That's where the humanity begins. And the angelic word begins from here, from the sixth chakra onward. Anyway, we being human, we begin with this heart chakra. We meditate there. And later on, as we move on our spiritual journey, and we move to the second chakra. Okay. While I was at first chakra, and when I'm experiencing the second chakra, it is super consciousness. While I am at first, if I'm able to experience the higher consciousness of the second chakra, it is my super consciousness. Mm-hmm. Now, when I'm on second, when my positioning is second chakra, and whatever I experience that is going on the third chakra, that is again my super consciousness. But if I'm able to experience while I'm on the second, the condition of the first chakra, it is my subconsciousness. So spiritually speaking, it is like that. But the beauty of any practice, spiritual practice especially, there is only one goal. And that goal is that we have our available consciousness, whatever that is. You have your own available consciousness. My wife has her own level of consciousness. My children have their own level of consciousness. This level of consciousness which is available to us, it is comparatively almost like a thin layer of water, which is sandwiched between two giant oceans. Mm-hmm. Picture yourself. There is one giant ocean of, let us say, Atlantic Ocean of super consciousness. Yeah. And there is a fine available consciousness, which I have now, which is only a fine layer of water. And below it, there is a subconscious ocean of Pacific Ocean. We are sandwiched between two giant oceans. Any spiritual practice, if it is worth, must help me expand this available consciousness and make me fly into sky of super consciousness and allow me to submerge myself in the depths of my subconsciousness. I must be flexible. At ease, I should be able to go up. At ease, I should be able to go down.
Beautiful. So let's go from there. First off, and thank you so much, Daaji. Before we go into a meditation, where can people go to find out more and to find your beautiful books?
But to find Amazon, or you can log into our site, heartfulness.org, and that's where we have a list of heart spots where you actually get the trainer who can help you meditate. And if you don't want to go to the trainer, or the trainer is too far from your location, you can download one app. It's called a Hearts app.
Yep.
Hearts, right? And with this Hearts app, it is almost like a Uber model. You know how Uber works, right? You want a car, somebody who is driving nearby where you are standing will come to you. Yep. They will know where you are. Similarly, let us say in the middle of night, let us say at 1 o'clock in the morning, Michael wants to meditate. And you want a trainer to transmit to you. And in Colorado, there is no person who is awake at 1 o'clock in the morning. But certainly, there will be another gentleman somewhere or gentle lady somewhere in Japan or in Africa or in Europe. If you make a request, I would like to meditate that, whatever. Somebody who is awake will see the requirement or there's a need. Michael wants a sitting. So they'll ping. Once they ping, they will also send a message, please start meditation. That's when you close your eyes and meditate. When the meditation is over, that person will ping you back and say, that's over now. So you share your experience with the other person on the other line. That's all. So that's a beautiful app that you have created. And there are many trainers. I would say we have more than 12,000 trainers worldwide. And beauty of this is they are all volunteers. Yeah.
Very, very cool. So that presupposes the next question. Is there a cost to do this?
Cost you in buying God? How much will you pay?
My eternal soul?
Yes. How much would you label?
How much which?
Would you label the
How?
cost of having God?
Man, he's been a good marketer.
So we don't charge.
Thank you.
The same question was posed. I myself had asked my preceptor, the trainer. She said, quoting Babuji, that God is not for sale. And if God was for sale, how much would you pay? And if you can afford to pay, why would you need God? So I don't like to be labeled as a yoga merchant. It's up to you. Like when you come to an ashram, it's up to you to give whatever you can to make the expenses, met. If you can't, you have your free lodging and boarding and food. Enjoy your food, enjoy your stay, and move on.
The fun of asking this question, because I knew where you were going,
I see.
is that if I don't ask, people don't necessarily go. There's a guard up. There's a wall up. That's particularly what we've been trained in the West. We want to protect ourselves. Oh, I won't even check it out to find out if there's a cost or not. When they hear there's no cost, of course they can give from their heart. Then there are a lot more to come over, likely to come over and check it out. And that's just what I'd like them to do.
Yes, that's the whole intention actually. But in reality, most vital thing in life, you cannot put a price tag.
Mm-hmm.
When we breathe air, how much would you pay for the air? Right? And how much would you? Earlier, there were days, I would say, in my childhood, we never paid anything for water.
Mm-hmm.
It was free. It's only now, in last 30, 40 years, we started paying for water. And the most vital thing is sustenance of our soul. And soul is within, Michael. Many people, they ask me, Kamlesh or Daaji, what is the proof of God? I say, you are the proof. Moment a baby is born, baby starts crying. You see, if baby doesn't cry, the doctors would make the baby cry.
Mm-hmm.
They will tilt the baby and tap the baby's spinal cord in the back to stimulate the breathing as well as the heart rates. And still, if baby doesn't cry, it's a sign that the life force that had to come along did not come. You may call it soul, or you may call it divine energy, or you may call it godly agent. Doesn't matter what we call. It is within me.
Mm-hmm.
The life force that gives me this life, with whose grace I've been able to breathe, and it will continue to breathe until the last moment, until the soul leaves the system. So it's within me. My soul is not somewhere in Himalayas or it's in Makkah or in Jerusalem. My soul is within me. So my search also should be within. Moment you start searching for this life force or the godly agent outside yourself, you have taken a wrong step.
Thank you. Would you mind leading us in? Maybe we can do a little bit of cleaning and then into a regular meditation from there.
Okay.
Daaji is now going to lead us in an abridged version of his cleansing meditation practice and heartfulness meditation with transmission. To get the full-length meditation and his cleansing practice, along with a full-length transmission, simply visit InspireNationShow.com and click on the show under the podcast tab up on the right. Again, you'll find the podcast tab up on the right and Inspire Nation Show. Click on the Daaji Show under that podcast tab, and you can get the full cleansing meditation practice and the full heartfulness meditation along with transmission. And now sit back and enjoy the meditations.
Now I'll walk you through this process of cleaning. Meditation is often done early in the morning before we take up major work. We do this cleaning, which rejuvenates our system. It is generally done in the evening when most of our activities, daily routine is over. Whenever I used to come back home after my daily work as a pharmacist, I would take a shower and then do my cleaning before interacting with others. This is in general. There are, of course, exceptional days. This is how we do cleaning. Sit comfortably. If you need to relax yourself, use the method I have prescribed earlier. Otherwise, you can make a will, a firm suggestion to yourself that all complexities and impurities that I have collected during daytime are going away from the backside in the form of smoke or vapor. Continue like this for another 15-20 minutes. When you feel very light inside, that's when you gently open your eyes. And that is all about cleaning. Thank you. Okay. In order to have a great meditation, one has to be physically and mentally be relaxed. So let's take a few deep breaths. And try to relax our physical body. For that, we have to be slightly imaginative and perceptive. Think that the energy from Earth is entering your system through feet. It is helping your feet relax. Allow this energy to move up your calf muscles and knees. Feel the energy there and the relaxation there. Allow this energy to move upward to your thigh muscles and hip area. Feel the relaxation there. Now, allow this energy to move up the entire back. Feel the relaxation there. Allow this energy to move to your abdominal muscles, your stomach area, and your chest area. Feel the energy there, helping you relax. Now allow this energy to move slowly into your shoulders. Feel your shoulders almost melting away, becoming lighter. Allow this energy to move down to your biceps, upper arms, lower arms, the wrist area, fingers. Feel the relaxation there. Now your neck muscles. Feel the lightness there. Allow it to relax. Now drop your jaw. Allow the energy to move, relaxing your jaws. Your facial muscles, your nose, your eyelids, eyebrows, forehead, your lips. Earlobes. and top of your head. Now scan the whole system, top to toe. See if any part of your body is still needing relaxation. Having relaxed all that, visit your heart. Gently have an idea that there is already divine presence in my heart that is drawing my attention inward. So with this idea of presence of divinity, we meditate. During this meditation session, which will last about 20-25 minutes, if you happen to have thoughts, let them come. Just ignore them by reminding yourself that I am meditating. I will be transmitting to you and I'll be with you spiritually. The meditation is over. I will announce, that's all. That's all. So now that meditation is over, remain seated with your eyes closed. Observe. See how you feel, how your condition was before the meditation, and how you're feeling now. If you can make a note of it, it will be nice. Thank you for meditating with us. That is all about cleaning. Thank you.
Thank you, Daaji.
Thank you, Michael.
This has been beautiful. I'm so glad that you came here this morning. I'm so glad we were able to figure out things and make it work. I say this evening, where you are.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for having us. And anytime you want to meditate, use that hearts app.
So I will do that.
You can send me a Skype message, and I'll hopefully, when I have time, I'll give you a sitting. We call this session as exchanging sittings, so we can meditate together. So
I will take you up on that. I'm making a note to exchange sittings with you. I would be honored.
Oh, it'll be wonderful.
So
thank you, Michael.
You're most welcome. Got to crank it up for the finish here. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get designing destiny, and begin discovering your deepest potential today. And shine bright. Woohoo!
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. This was so beautiful. I just had the most beautiful interview with Daaji on Designing Destiny. To check out more incredible videos on diving in on the inside, click here, subscribe below.